In this video, I'll be going over some penny stocks to watch in March of 2018. But before I get to the video, if you haven't checked out my channel before, I talk about investing and the stock market. So if you're interested in that, definitely head over onto my channel and consider subscribing. And one other thing before I start the video, I did recently change the name of my title of my channel to my name, Jake Jones, because honestly, the name before was all right, Investing Potentials, but it wasn't like super searchable, and I wasn't like a huge fan of it, and I'd rather focus more on personal branding than anything. So that's really why I changed it to that. That's the only thing I'm changing, though. I'm still going to be talking about the same stuff, and everything's going to remain the same on the channel besides that. But anyways, getting onto the video, like I said, some penny stocks to watch in the month of March. Now, one that I've talked about in the past quite a bit, and I'm just going to go over quickly because if you watch my videos every month, you're probably getting somewhat sick of it, is this one right here, United Microelectronics, ticker symbol UMC. And if you look at this stock without actually looking at its price, you might be like, wow, this stock actually looks like a pretty decent stock. I mean, it's got a $6 billion market cap, 18 PE ratio, a very nice dividend yield of 3.31. Now, obviously, since it's just simply a penny stock, it's not, it's only going to be a couple of cents or so. But if you owned, maybe $100, then it would add up. But anyways, United Electronics or Microelectronics, one of those penny stocks out there that aren't that bad. And I mean, considering it's $2, and if you look at its growth over the past couple of years, not terrible, and actually does better than some stocks that are supposed to be doing a whole lot better than it. But Microelectronics, an interesting penny stock to take a look at if you're interested in buying some cheap stocks, and by cheap I mean stocks that aren't worth a whole lot because you might have a relatively small portfolio. But anyways, the next stock, which I've looked at in the past, technically isn't a penny. I mean, it sort of is a penny stock, but not really at the same time, because I would consider this a penny stock because, I mean, $6, technically only $5 is supposed to be considered a penny stock, but at $6, that's honestly pretty close to a penny stock. But anyways, Sirius XM, ticker symbol SIRI, and once again, I've talked about this one in the past before. This is actually, if you go over the growth here over the past couple of years, done pretty decent. And if you look over here, PE ratio of 48, not bad at all. It has a relatively small dividend yield, and a pretty big company actually at 28 billion market cap. It's definitely not a small company by any means, but Sirius XM, another stock that Warren Buffett actually likes a lot and holds, if I'm correct. At least he held it last time I checked. But a pretty solid stock right here that's relatively cheap as well. And one thing that I've said about them in the past is that they're very dominant in their industry. If you don't know what they are, they're like a radio, online like radio streaming service that a lot of people get in their car, but I think voice is becoming very, very huge, and if they start moving over to Alexa and Google Home and now Apple HomePod, I think they are going to be very successful in the future. And even though they do pretty much own the car radio ownership industry right now, or whatever you want to call that specific industry, I think that they need to continue to improve as voice begins to get bigger and bigger. But anyways, that's Sirius XM right there. Moving on to the next stock I'll be looking at. If we pull it up real quick on the Robinhood app, once again, I'm sure a couple people will ask. The app I'm using right now is called the Robinhood app, and it's a really good app for really any investor, but especially beginner investors, because it is absolutely free. And if you sign up using the link in the description, you will get a free stock. But anyways, the next stock or penny stock I'll be looking at is Nokia, ticker symbol NOK, excuse me. And some people know Nokia they used to make like really durable phones. I think it might have actually been like my first phone ever that I had. They were like bulletproof, and like you could drop them from a mile up and they wouldn't break, and they like had amazing battery life. But obviously they were just like little, not flip phones, but like not very good phones at all. But Nokia is actually still continuing to do stuff in the world of phones, even though they're not necessarily selling like like an iPhone example or anything like that. They actually are beginning to do more stuff in creating parts for phones, which I think is very interesting, and software and stuff like that. So they still are alive and around, and they're actually doing some restructuring around the company and such, because obviously, as you can see right now, they're just a not very profitable company, but they actually are getting closer and closer to profitability, like I said, because they are coming out with more products that aren't necessarily being useful in like their version of an iPhone or a Samsung phone, but are being useful in versions of other phones. So I'm interested in that stuff because I'm interested in tech, but you might not necessarily be, but it definitely is a stock you could consider looking into for the month of March and really beyond, because of those things that I just said. But anyways, Nokia is actually being a very innovative company that is kind of making a comeback in the really tech world and like cell phone world as well. But so you can look more into that if you're interested. The next one I'll be looking at is Groupon, ticker symbol GRPN. And Groupon actually had a not so great earnings report. Honestly, I don't base stocks off of one earnings report, which a lot of people do for some reason. I most definitely don't, and they have been down a little bit over the past couple of weeks or so, because really just the whole stock market has been down. But I thought there were some good things out of their earnings report, and I definitely think they do need to do some restructuring and such, as I said, about some of these other companies. I'm still giving Groupon a chance here. I think their service and what they provide is very good and unique, and there's definitely not a lot of companies out there that provide it like the way they do. And also, like, just a little I guess personal finance thing here. If you don't use Groupon, you definitely should consider using it. I use it, and they actually have some really good deals on things that are normally quite expensive that you get great discounts on. They're more pushing towards local-based things, like going to like a local restaurant or a local, I don't know, like play or hotel or something like that. But definitely take a look at Groupon, download the Groupon app if you're interested in that. They're not like paying me to say that or anything like that. It's just something that I use to save a bit of money here and there. But anyways, Groupon, as you can see, over the past year down, 5 year down quite a bit, but on the year they actually were doing pretty well. And honestly, they're only down right now because of the earnings report they had actually wasn't that bad, but at what I thought, but some people didn't really like it too much, and just the stock market's been down as a whole, so that is one reason why they're down a little bit. But actually, at a pretty good buying point right now. I might pick up a couple shares of them for maybe a little swing trade, even though I don't do that very often. But as you can see right here, they are on a bit of a dip, which I think offers up a pretty good buying point, and they definitely have potential to go up to that $5 range sometime soon. But anyways, moving on, those are really the main stocks for this month. I'm going to pull up a couple other ones I'll be looking at as well for various reasons, but those were really the main ones that I'll be looking at: UMC, Groupon, Sirius XM, and Nokia. But these last three stocks are just kind of add-ins, ones that weren't necessarily breaking the top of my watch list, but are still somewhat worthy for a watch. But anyways, the next one is Pandora, ticker symbol P, and they have had a really bad earnings report, and they have been going up and down quite a bit and more towards the downturn, but I still think Pandora has some opportunity. So this last quarter did not have a very good earnings report, was very, very low expectations, as you can see right here on the Robinhood app. Doesn't really show much except for just the actual numbers, but basically how Pandora makes money, they're a music streaming service, and what they do to make money is they either run ads or they make money from you buying Pandora Plus. And unlike some services like Spotify and Apple Music, buying the actual Apple Music and the actual Spotify, I think it's just Spotify Premium, it actually adds more like intrinsic value to you, like you get to do extra things. The only thing with Pandora, I think it's called Pandora Plus, is that you don't get advertisements, which they really need to fix that. They need to make it so there's actually adding more value than just not getting advertisements, or else you're not going to see an increase in those Pandora Plus sales, which I think is what's happening right now. Like, people don't really care that much about advertisements. They're still going to use their free service and everything, but that's just my opinion, obviously. There's still other things wrong with that. Their advertising or monetization, how they do it isn't super great right now. They still actually get decent amount of views and like people using the app and using their online service, but it's just not that great yet, and they definitely could see some improvements. But anyways, Pandora, another stock that I'll be looking at for the month of March. These last two I'm just going to go over real quickly because the video is hitting around 10 minutes now. But the next one I'll be looking at is Chesapeake Energy. Chesapeake's actually been down quite a bit over the past couple of weeks or so as well. Been getting hit extremely hard. I think I might pull them in. I might attempt a couple swing trades with them. It's not going to be anything big, just because they're really honestly like on quite a hard dip right here. As you see, month 22%, 3 month 21%. If they dip below that $3 mark, I might consider getting a swing trade. That's just a stock I'm looking at for a swing/day trade in the upcoming months. And the last one, if we look at Rite Aid right here, ticker symbol RAD, I do think Rite Aid actually has a little bit of long-term potential. Not a whole lot. As you can see, 5 years still technically in the green, but they're definitely up a lot more beforehand, and now they are down quite a bit. And as you can see, in the month, they have been quite volatile. But like I've said in the past, I still think Rite Aid actually has some potential. If you look at companies that are very similar to them, like Walgreens and CVS, they actually do a lot better, like considerably better than Rite Aid. And I think if Rite Aid starts doing things more similar to them, obviously, their stock could definitely turn into the right direction. And they're actually like not terrible with what they're doing. It's just that like similar to some of these stores, they're getting hit by online sales and e-commerce sales pretty hard, and they just need to focus more on that online business idea. Like you see some companies that are surviving this, I guess you could call it Amazon retail like apocalypse or whatever you want to call it, by simply just very, very aggressively pushing online like a company like Walmart is doing. But anyways, guys, that's really it for the video. Those are some penny stocks that I'll be looking at for the month of March. If you liked the video, or if you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like and comment below some penny stocks that you'll be looking at for the month of March. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video.